1,000 rand race, the first of the Group 1s, so the same rating rather as the July in racing terms. It's for the best 2-year-old fillies in the country, and it's called the Golden Slipper. And here you are riding for Vaughan Marshall, number 9, Kukia. Is that the way you pronounce it?
Kukla.
Kukla.
Yes, actually, once again, a friend of mine owns this, George Nikas. George Nikas owns Ocean Basket, and he used to sponsor me, and he asked me to ride his horse and see how it goes. They confident, which they always are, but unfortunately, she's been well beaten by some of these horses, and she's carrying the same weight, so we're getting no advantage on them. And once again, we're in for a tough race.
Michael Azzi's horse, he was telling us the other day that he was allowed to name this one, and that went down very, by only half a length to another horse called Valdera, another filly. It seems to have been a great preparation for her. Is she the one that would stand out to you, or the others?
She has definitely got a chance. She's drawn 13, which is very difficult, not only in a track, but the way the starting stalls are positioned. It's positioned right on the turn, which means as you jump, you start turning.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're on the outside, you're at a big disadvantage. I thought maybe a filly like All of Fire must have a big chance. Spring Clover's drawn 1. It's a big advantage, and she's won 3 out of 4 races. And the problem with these type of races are they're juveniles, they're babies. So some can improve a lot, some are already at their maximum ability, and so it can work out as a very difficult race.
So that's number 1, All of Fire, and number 14, Spring Clover, the two that you would rate as having big chances here. Interesting to see that Spring Clover's trained by a fairly recent addition to the trainers' ranks, John Force, he's had a very good start, hasn't he, in the past couple of years?
He's actually a very good trainer. He improves on a lot of horses. His horses look well. He knows what he's doing. I think he's going to go far, and it's probably worth following this type of horse.
So it could be the biggest win of John Force's short career to date in race 4, Spring Clover. From your side, you're well drawn at 7, though, and hopefully what George Nikas says and Vaughan Marshall, the trainer, says about the ability of the horse actually turns out to surprise you.
Yes, I hope she improves, because we finished 9.5 lengths behind Give Me 5, who's in the same race, and we're carrying the same weight. So 9.5 lengths is a lot to make up.
If it was a handicap, you'd be carrying, 9.5 kilograms less.
So I would be carrying 48.5.
Wow. On to the big one, the race 7, the Vodacom Durban July. Now, you've had a nice break, or you will have had a nice break, because that's off at 4:30, and the fourth race is at 2 o'clock. So you've had 2.5 hours. Would you need to go into a sweat box during this time, or what do you actually do in that 2.5 hours?
I hope not by this time. As I will have the 3 rides before the July, I'd probably be sweating. I'd probably be putting on a top underneath where it absorbs quite a bit of sweat, so that as you ride, you get hot, you sweat, you're losing weight as you're riding. So by this time, I'm hoping that I've got my weight spot on, and I'd be changing all my gear. I'll be putting on my light kit, which is light racing boots, your light saddle fittings, whatever, and hoping by this time the weight's spot on.
And what do you do in those 2.5 hours? Who do you talk to? Are you allowed to use cell phones and chat to people in that way?
No, we're not allowed to use cell phones at all. We are basically closed off in the jockey room, not allowed to communicate much with people except your trainer, and maybe if an owner comes around. But by this time, you're just sitting and waiting and watching the other races.
There's lots going on.
There's a lot going on.
It's not like you get bored.
No. You watch all the other races, and you keep updating yourself and looking at where's the best going, how's the track running. And I believe this time, it's the first time this year, they've got a false rail around gravel, which is a rail that's not on the inside of the track. It's about 5 meters off the inside. And then after about, I think, 5 or 6 races, they're going to remove that rail and then you're going to race on the right, on the inside of the track. So it's going to be something that we have to keep our eye on and adapt all the time.
So the false rail in the initial stages, would that take away the advantage of the draw? But when you or to some extent anyway, or not?
No, it's basically just to save the going
For the July
for the July. So you're still going to be where you're drawn. If you're drawn one, you still got an advantage on the rail. But what will happen? Everyone will just race closer to the inside once they move the rail. So the initial false rail. So it won't really play a part. All it will do is that we will be racing on virgin grass, if I can call it, and then your false rail, as you come into the straight, you'll be closer to the inside running rail. So we'll have to see if the going's good, right, if you stick down the inside rail.
Pierre, handicapping, as you've explained to us, is so important in horse racing. And if you go on a straight handicapping of the July itself, of the Vodacom July, then Pocket Power most definitely can be beaten, because your horse Capel, as you said earlier, was only 1 1/4 lengths behind him last time they met, and they carried the same weight. Now your horse Capel is getting 5.5 kilograms less, and in just theoretical terms, that should mean 6 or even 7 lengths difference in where he finishes. Put that at minus 1.5, and he really is in a very good position. But I suppose races are not run on paper, and Pocket Power wouldn't be the hot favourite in this race if there wasn't a very good reason for it.
Yeah, the right thing for a punter would to know handicapping, because 1 kilogram is supposed to be equal to 1 length.
Over a mile, over 1,600
Over 1,600, yeah. Now, over 2,200, that becomes a little bit, probably a length and a quarter. So that's on paper. That's how racing's supposed to work. But unfortunately, horses don't jump quick out the pen. Some don't stay the distance. Some don't get luck in running. So you have to take all those into account. If you had to go on paper, I say Capel will win this race. If they had to run this race over a mile, at Clearwood, like he met last time against Pocket Power, then we'd probably be the winner. But now you got to look at all the factors that come into play. Pocket Power has won this race before. He's racing better than ever. Last time he placed much handier than what he used to in the past. Where Miles Capel, he comes from stone last. He's got a habit of not going in the early stages, and as hard as you try, he just doesn't go for you. And then it's like all of a sudden, okay, well, I'm now in the mood to run, and off goes Capel. And unfortunately, with 20 runners, if you're going to come into the straight second last, Gravel's got a short straight, it's very difficult to make it up.
You're going to be weaving your way through horses then towards the end, if he stays, and I think that's another big question.
That's another
Will he
factor.
make the distance? Because he certainly the form that's in the computer form, he hasn't run over this distance before.
No, but he has run just beyond Pocket Power in a JMB Met, which is over 2,000.
And a more difficult course, perhaps.
It's a more testing track. So, if you take that into account, then I think he probably will get away with the 2,200. Now you have to start looking at the pace. How fast are they going to go? Are they going to make it fast and make it testing? Will they make it hard for him to stay? If he does stay and they go fast, the front runners should get tired, and he'll be running on. So it will be in my favour. If they go slow, there's also a suspect over 2,200.